Welcome to USMNT Weekly on the Total Soccer Show. It's your one-stop shop for all things US men's national team. On this episode, we're looking at the Americans who stood out in the most recent round of games, and we have an October roster draft. Good stuff. Stick around. My name's Ryan Bailey. Joining me today, Taylor Rockwell. Hello, Taylor.
Hello, Ryan Bailey. Hello, all. Anytime we get Ryan to start off with the enthusiasm for a USMNT roster draft, you know that we've brainwashed him thoroughly.
You know, it's just the latent threat of another international break on the horizon. Just a few days away, Taylor. I love him. I love him so much.
You're welcome.
Good. Excellent. I feel welcome.
I've been
Larry, hello.
Yeah, we got Graham. We're trying for Ryan. We're going to keep trying. It is funny. This is like my ideal episode of a soccer podcast.
Correct.
I think Ryan might be on the other side of the spectrum. But you know
Correct.
what? We got it. Sometimes we're on one side or the other. Sometimes we meet in the middle. That's just how these things go.
It's about the USMNT friends we made along the way, Joe. That's
Absolutely. USMNTF.
Ryan, if you were forced to participate in this draft, would you go like auto draft if that were possible? Is this the type of draft where you're just like, you know what, I'm good. We'll see what the computer picks for me.
I'd be a draft dodger. I'd have bone spurs.
Flat feet.
Yeah. Graham Ruthven, hello. How are you?
Hello, Ryan Bailey. Yeah, how can we brainwash you like I have been brainwashed? This is a true story, by the way. So the other night, the US U20s were playing at the World Cup. And they were playing in the middle of the night, and I had it on my phone. And Lucy went and slept in the other room because I had the phone on in the bed, and it was a low point. So,
Guys,
what I'm picturing now is it was Graham's anniversary. There are candles out. They've had a nice.
It actually
dinner.
was our anniversary. That is very, very weird.
That can't.
No way.
September.
Graham, that can't be real. Graham, I need
No
that
way.
to not be real. Because, like, otherwise I'm concerned how long you're going to be allowed to do this show.
Listen,
It genuinely was
just
our anniversary.
it was just on my phone on accident.
Oh, wow.
Benjamin Kramaski had scored 2 goals. I needed to see if he was going to get his hat trick.
And he
Lucy,
did.
he's on a hat
I'm glad he
trick.
did. Yeah. Graham, sometimes I worry that
boy.
some of us are could become parodies of ourselves. But thankfully, you've dodged that there. Congratulations.
I mean,
Another
am I
doggy.
even more of a parody of myself if I tell you I was actually watching for New Caledonia, who I'd written the newsletter about the previous week. They're my boys, and I was
that makes it
concerned for
better.
them.
That
I
makes
was
it a lot
concerned
better.
for them after they were 4-0 down after 20 minutes, but they kept it to a nice, respectable 9-1, so that's a moral victory for them.
Indeed. Yeah. Married to the game, Graham Ruthven. Very proud of you.
That's
Congratulations. That was an under-20 World Cup victory, as you mentioned there. A 9-1 victory with the hat-trick for Benjamin Kramaski there. On loan in Italy at Parma at the moment. So that's fun. New Caledonia, Graham, what did we learn? What have you learned?
That they're not very good, which makes me concerned about this 48-team World Cup, because they genuinely could be at the senior men's World Cup next year. They're into the intercontinental playoff. So, yeah, not sure we need to expand to 64 teams, which FIFA's definitely going to do for 2030.
I've heard the generation above the 20-year-olds is pretty hot stuff, though.
Yeah, that's true. Golden generation.
Here we go.
Dark horse.
All right.
How is that going to work? How are we going to do a 64-team World Cup? Like, is it going to be 2 months long? Are they going to try to cram it in? Is it going to be 10 games a day? Which does feel like a thing they would try to do, now that I say that out loud.
Taylor, you're asking too many questions. 64. Oh, wouldn't that be fun? 64 teams. Shiny. More. Bigger. Better. FIFA. World Cup.
That
sold.
feels like the pitch. That really does feel like the pitch that we were given.
Sponsors. Sponsors?
Oh, man, Gianni's in the room with us.
You know they're thinking 64, and then they're thinking, well, that's just, it's not that hard to go to 128 at that point, is it? That's the thought process.
See, this is where they have ground me down, because by going to 48, I'm like, whatever, just make it 64. I don't care anymore. You've spoiled it. But
My
as long
conspiracy
as my
brain.
boys, New Caledonia, are there, I'll be happy.
That's it. That's what we need. My conspiracy brain is that they've gone to 48 to be like, oh yeah, everybody hates the 4 best third place finishers or whatever it
Totally.
will be. So we've got to add more. It's the only solution to make it an even balanced schedule, not going back to the one that was already balanced and felt more elite and special. No, 64, 128. Why not? Every country. Mars. Put them in.
We still won't qualify 128 teams. New
By we-
Caledonia will be there.
I was going to say, by we, I assume you mean New Caledonia, and I think they will be there at 120.
Well, New Caledonia sounds Scottish, so
Right. They're in.
Yeah. Old Caledonia is what Scotland was called previously, right?
that's right. Yeah.
It's like the new Amsterdam thing. Anyway,
Does
Patreon.com.
mean Scotland? I'm not letting you go, right?
Yeah, it's James Cook, right? Was the explorer. This is genuine. James Cook found New Caledonia and thought it looked like Scotland, so called it New Caledonia. I think that's a true story.
James Cook was at center back in that U20 game, right, for them?
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Poor Cookie.
The long proud history of an island that was almost certainly inhabited being renamed by somebody else because it looked like something else. Outstanding.
Yeah.
It's happened before. Taylor.
I'm unfamiliar.
Anyway, patreon.com/Total Soccer Show. If you'd like to get more familiar with us, that is where you find our bonus content, bonus episodes, bonus video, encouragement of Graham to be the way he is. Join us there on patreon.com/Total Soccer Show. And as a reminder, we're on the YouTubes. Link in the show notes. Hit like and subscribe. Come see our beautiful visages on the YouTube. All right. Hey, Joe, let's get into some USMNT action, shall we? I've got a question for you, Joe. In the last round of games over the weekend, was there a US player who, let's say, stood out to you, who did something special?
I get to go first this week, unlike last week where someone stole my answer. I bet someone else has this answer as well, but I'm going to get there first. Alejandro Zendejas is my pick for over the weekend. Nobody's eyes are showing me that they have picked Zendejas as well. This is good news for me.
I think the build-up told me you were going a different direction.
I think the direction that maybe other people are going was already discussed earlier this week is sort of my sense. I'm going with Zendejas, who scored a lovely chip over Pumas' Keylor Navas. That's a thing, by the way. Aaron Ramsey, this Pumas team is wild, as is the Club America team, to be honest. But a 4-1 win for America on Saturday. Zendejas had a second goal as well from the spot later in that game. He's in amazing form right now, Alex Zendejas. 4 goals and 2 assists, in his last 5 for Club America. This chip, if you haven't seen it, is scrumptious. Nice. It is 100% intentional. It is guided perfectly over Keylor Navas. I'm a huge fan of this goal. And Zendejas, like I said, he's been really good in a macro sense for Club America. In this game against Pumas, he was the best player on the field. And I don't even know that it was close. I watched this whole game. He played as this narrow right winger in a 4-2-3-1, was really, really good all the way across the board. He scores those 2 goals, obviously. Dribbling 1v1 was very effective in this game. Had a couple of really nice through balls in this game. Set piece service was on point. Watch out, Christian Pulisic, somebody's coming for your spot. Defensive effort was there as well. This is Zendejas, I think, genuinely in the form of his life, or very, very close to it for Club America. His underlying numbers are really good across this entire season now. His performances have matched those. And we know that coming out of the September camp, Pochettino was enamored with Zendejas. He was very, very pleased. And, when you score a goal like that, I don't blame him for being pleased with Zendejas, even though I didn't think outside of that moment in the September window he was especially good. For Club America, he has been. And Club America are one of the best teams on this continent. I would be shocked, absolutely shocked, and maybe this is a foolish thing to say before what we're about to do. I'd be shocked if he wasn't in the roster coming out, what we think is going to be tomorrow.
Okay. Is your voice slightly hoarse, Joe, because you were cheering so much for the
Just so excited. It's not at all because I'm sick. And just that goal, every time I watch it, I just have to yell and scream in support of Alex Zendejas. So that's why I'm this way.
Excellent stuff. Thank you very much, Joe. Taylor, are you going to say a name that rhymes with Schmistian Mulisic?
I am indeed. And I will add that if Joe thinks what Zendejas did was scrumptious, then to steal a word from Will Ferrell, what Pulisic did was scrumptulescent. Because that opening assist is incredible. The fact that it's so early in the game, but that it is really him creating a goal from nothing. It's a really great outside of the foot touch to then turn the defender, to then beat the next defender, to then get in on goal and then play it across for Salamakis at the back post. He creates that one himself. Then he gets a goal for his own. He is subbed off fairly early, but that is because Estupiñán gets the straight red for Dogso. And with Mullan at that point up, basically it's what the Dogso and the penalty are taken. That's when Pulisic is subbed off. Yeah. And it feels like you leave on Jimenez, you want sort of at least like a target outlet striker. So he is the one that is logical to make way. But it is a little bit of a disappointment because it felt like maybe there was another goal coming. Maybe there was an even better performance to be had. But all the same, I have to give him massive credit. And I will give honorable mention at the same time to a young Joseph Scally for a brace of assists in an absolute insanity of a game. Eintracht Frankfurt 6, Borussia Mönchengladbach 4. Gio Reyna not involved due to a thigh injury, but Joe Scally continues to make attacking contributions. It's what we wanted to see from him, and it's what he's doing. So credit to him, if not for the defensive performance.
Yeah, Joe Scally was on my list as well, Taylor. First of all, it's worth outlining how big of a mess Gladbach are in at the moment. They are
The
bottom
biggest?
of the Bundesliga. Yeah, the biggest mess. They are still waiting for their first win of the season. They have changed managers. The sporting director, Roland Verkus, resigned a few days ago after this game. So that's the manager and the sporting director who signed Gio Reyna. They have gone within a month, and he's injured again. And even if he was fit, it seems like he might be out of the team already. He was on the bench a couple of weeks ago. So not going great for Gio Reyna so far. But one player who is very much coming out of that Gladbach team with any sort of credit right now is Joe Scally. And he has been put forward as a bit of a leader for this team. He did the pre-match press conference before this game. He also did the on-field interview after the game, which is always a telling sign of when it's a bad result. They always put forward someone they know that's going to speak well and maybe is a bit of a leader in the team. It's Joe Scally who does that. And in that interview, he calls out some of his teammates for not working hard enough and not executing well enough. And the reason that he can do that is because he's actually playing well at the moment. He is playing as a wing-back, which is getting him into really advanced positions. His 2 assists in this game come from him getting to the byline. The second assist is a kind of like scooped cross that the Frankfurt goalkeeper whiffs at and should probably deal with. But the first assist is a really nice pick out and cross, and he's a better crosser than, not just in this game, but Taylor, I know you spoke about Scally in another game that he's played this season in this role. He's a better crosser than personally I realised that he was. So I still think he could get involved in possession a little bit more. Ulrich on the left side is more of a sort of like possession hub than Scally, and there's not a lot of progressive passing coming from Scally, which has always been his thing, right? Like we've mentioned that countless times. But he is impacting games in an attacking sense. He's getting nice and high on that right side, and when he does get into those positions, he's producing something. So definitely encouraging for Joe.
Yeah, encouraging. It's not all falling apart at Gladbach. Didn't they score four unanswered goals in the second half of that game? They were 6-0 down, but still.
I mean, that is the most liberal use of unanswered I've ever heard in my life. They were unanswered because they were 6-0 down after 46 minutes. But yes, the final scoreline looked a little bit better than it might have done at one point.
Indeed, yeah. I think we can all agree that we at Total Soccer Show are big Eintracht Frankfurt fans this season. None of their games have had less than 4 goals, and many of them have had 10 or more. Yeah, love it.
Can I very quickly highlight another player? So Pulisic is right now the best performing American player. I don't think Chris Richards is far off that level right now, and obviously we gravitate towards the attacking players because they're more fun to talk about. But Chris Richards has been excellent for Palace to start the season, and I thought his performance against Liverpool at the weekend might have been the best that I've seen from him besides the FA Cup final against Man City last season. Just looking through his numbers here, 3 tackles, 3 interceptions, 6 clearances, 2 blocks. He was a brick wall in this game, and positionally as well. He plays on the right side of that back 3 for Palace, of course. So that's against Liverpool. That's such a difficult job. He was faced with Florian Wirtz dribbling inside, and he's got to track Isak if he's peeling out to the left side. And you've got Szoboszlai rotating around there as well. Kerkez is overlapping down the left side. So there's a lot to keep an eye on, and I thought Richards handled it all. I watched all of this game, full 90 minutes of this game, and he has been really good for a sustained period of time now, pretty much all of 2025. I know some Palace fans think that he's up there as one of their best players at the moment, and this is a quality Palace team. I can't remember if this was in our sort of pre-episode chat earlier in the week, or if this actually made it into the Patreon or one of the main feed shows, but I don't think it's out of the question that Palace do Forest this season. They're up there in the sort of European qualification, and Chris Richards is one of the central pillars of that team. I found a stat by Gradient Sports, who I'd never heard of before, but they're a deep data company. I think they're quite new. They're linked to PFF, who do a lot of American football stuff. They said Richards is leading the Premier League for the fewest positional mistakes in the division this season. I don't have their methodology. I went
Sounds
looking
good,
for it on
it?
their side. They do seem to be a legit company. There seems to be money behind them. So I presume there is some sort of methodology. But that's what they say, and it does kind of line up with what I'm seeing from Chris Richards this season. And I remember not so long ago how we all wanted a dominant centre back to emerge from the pool at the top level. It's happened. It's Chris Richards. He's surely nailed on for that position at the World Cup.
Ryan is, of the 4 of us, top in fewest positional mistakes on this pod. Always in the right spot, always there with a filler when we need it. Ryan, that's you. That's Gradient Sports talking, by the way.
Oh, me? Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't ready. Sorry, guys.
Nobody's perfect.
Very good. And also, before we go to break, I'd like to give a shout out to Yunus Musa, by the way, in Atalanta's 2-1 win over Club Brugge on Tuesday night. that little glancing header assist. 87th minute winner for Atalanta, courtesy Mr. Musa there. Very good indeed. Making his mark in Lombardy at this point. Very good. All right, why don't we take a quick break? When we come back, we've got a draft. Stick with us. Total Soccer Show, welcome back to USMNT Weekly. Hey, pinch punch first of the month, listener. It's October, and we've got a little old window coming up, an international window. Yeah, week and a half out or so.
That wasn't not what my question was about, but okay.
Is pinch punch first of the month not in Arizonian parlance, Joe?
Slap, smack, it's October? I don't know. What are you doing?
He's
Taylor,
just trying to get his Gradient Sports positional, whatever it was, up.
My XN, my expected nonsense, is high so far in this episode. Here we go. All right. Anyway, it's the first of the month as we record, and we have a window coming up. We've got, of course, USMNT taking on Ecuador next Friday, October 10th in Austin, and then Australia on the following Tuesday, October 14th in the Denver Metro. I believe Mauricio Pochettino's roster should be dropping very soon, within a day or so of this podcast dropping. We're going to preempt it, aren't we, Graham? We're going to do a little draft, aren't we?
Let's do it. I love the
Let's
I
do
love
it.
a draft.
Let's
I had
do
no
it.
idea what a draft was until I started working on this show. Now they're coming at me weekly, and I love them. I've been
You thought it was a
radicalised.
thing that you got in the pub occasionally, but
That's
no,
right.
it's a
Different kind of draft.
It's a different. That's right. Our friends at Gradient Sports know it very well. What we do in our draft is we're going to do a snake draft for this one, and the object here, the goal, is to pick as many players that we think will make Pochettino's roster as possible. So we're going to do. Let's go 10 rounds, shall we? Who wants to go 10 rounds? Oh,
Me.
like a boxer. Very good, Joe. Very good. We'll go through. We'll pick a surplus of players we're going to end up with here, Joe. So we're going to have some players who are not going to make this roster. So I guess the challenge is to get as many as you can, and the ones you think are desserts in the early rounds. Let's do it, shall we?
Yeah.
So to decide the draft order, I'm holding 3 pieces of paper in my hands. Taylor, would you like to pick a piece of paper, left, middle, or right?
Left.
Is this left, as in your stage left?
Stage
No, the other one. But that's fine.
It's too late.
No,
Okay, I'll
that's
take
fine.
it.
You
Never
got
mind. First pick's
pick.
fine. We're good. Cool. Never mind. I take it back.
Rigged.
That's what I meant the
Graham,
whole time.
stage left or stage right?
I have no idea what left or right is because Riverside flips, I think, the image here. But I'll go for the one, and I think your left hand.
This is my left hand. You go second. Congratulations.
Okay.
There we go. Joe is going third.
Stage right.
Okay, you're third, Joe. Good
Nailed
stuff. Here we go with the first pick of the October 1st, 2025 TSS USMNT roster draft. We go to Taylor Rockwell. What'll it be, Taylor?
I was going to go goalkeeper for this one until I learned that the most obvious candidate got a head injury this weekend and probably has a concussion. That he might still be in the team, but there's a might there. There are conditionals there that I don't think were there otherwise, whereas Chris Richards is definitely going to be in this team. So I will go Chris Richards with the first pick.
Very good. I think that's a pretty solid pick. No complaints here. Who's up next? Graham? It's Graham.
I will go for Christian Pulisic. I wouldn't
safe.
rule out him. Yeah, it's safe. I mean, I wouldn't rule out him not getting like the full 90 minutes in either game, frankly. But it feels like it's nailed on. He's going to play a big role.
I
in the
wouldn't
games, I think.
rule out him not getting 90.
He's ruling it out.
So you would rule it out?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
I wouldn't not say he's ruling it out.
Double negatives are my Achilles heel and then some. They throw me for a loop every single time.
It wouldn't surprise me if he gets subbed off in some games. There we go. But he's going to play.
Hopefully not due to Dogs O Red cards this time around, Graham. Of course.
Hopefully not.
All right. Joe, your first pick.
All right, my first pick of the first round is Max Arfston. Just a man whose name is etched in stone for Mauricio Pochettino, it certainly seems. I'm being completely serious. To zoom out slightly, this is a fascinating roster because we all thought that October was going to be the month that Pochettino really put out his guys. I don't know about that. There's a lot of injuries right now. Taylor already mentioned Matt Freese and that injury. Gio's injured. We talked about that already. Johnny Cardoso is still out injured. Dest has missed time recently with PSV. Pepe came off of the weekend for PSV and isn't going to play midweek in the Champions League. And that's not even the entire list. It's a long list. And then toss onto all of that that Mauricio Pochettino talked about how he was going to be a little more lenient with MLS call-ups in this window and maybe even in November as well because of the MLS postseason. Arston is a little bit of a risky pick for that reason, but Poch loves himself some Maximilian, doesn't he? Like he just really does.
Who doesn't?
So he is my first pick. Ryan, are we snaking? Do I get to go again?
You do,
We're
Joe.
snaking,
But Joe, I'll buy you a moment to say I think it's Orlando, Vancouver, Seattle, and RSL, amongst others, play during this break. So Freeman, Berhalter, Blackman, White, Roldan, and Luna, even without injuries in there, I think we're already maybe on the bubble because their club teams will be needing them. But we'll see.
And it's totally possible that those guys still get called up, like U.S. Soccer and the men's national team coaching staff work closely with clubs. Pochettino says nice things about MLS whenever he can. So I think he's built up some goodwill there. But that's a great point. Like maybe that is if Luna is on the cusp and someone like Zendejas, who's exactly who I'm going to pick next, by the way. If someone like him is coming into the roster, maybe Luna gets left at home, not because Poch doesn't rate him, just because he doesn't want to put on needless pressure. Pochettino, pretty much when it comes to a question of the national team or the club team, Pochettino has given grace to the club team every single time so far since he's been coach. So maybe that trend will continue, but Zendejas is going to be in this team.
Very good. Okay. Graham, your next pick, please.
Interesting that nobody's going near the goalkeepers so far, which felt like maybe the first place we would go ordinarily. I will still go
Is that
for...
Jonathan Klinsmann, your next pick, was that, Graham? Sorry.
That's what he said, I
Definitely
think.
not.
Okay.
Definitely not. I'm still going to go for Matt Freese. I know he comes off in the Hudson River Derby at the weekend with the concussion. I think concussion protocol is like a week, so that still gives him a week to recover and be in this team in time. So I think he'll be. What are we getting a point for here? By the way, is it minutes played or is it just been selected?
I think
In the
minutes
squad.
played is the tiebreaker.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay, so in the squad, right? Yeah, so definitely taking Matt Freese.
Minutes played over the 2 games.
Yeah.
There's a lot of math to be done in this draft, isn't there?
Yeah, we're not going to tie. Someone's just going to win outright, I think. That's the hope.
Here's to hoping. Taylor, your second pick.
So I'm going to take him, though it is always risky because at any given moment, an injury, quote unquote, or actual injury could pop up, and that could see him not included. But I'm still going Jedi Robinson. Let's get Jedi on my team. I want him in this team. I want him in this camp. I think he's such an incredibly important player. I very much hope he gets called up and isn't injured. And then Malik Tillman. I think he's started okay for Leverkusen. I think certainly is not like a like-for-like Florian Wirtz replacement, but he was never going to be. We've talked about that at length. But I think he gives the U.S. different looks in midfield, and I think Pochettino will be interested to see what he can do with a more established veteran group in there.
Yeah.
Joe has a finger up, and it makes me nervous.
No, just on the Jedi note, I think Tillman will be in this team. I'm not sure if Jedi is going to be in this team. And that goes back to Pochettino generally saying the tie goes to the club so far and trying to keep his players healthy and not overworking them for the most part. Jedi Robinson only played 10 minutes off the bench against Fulham. Against Villa in the Premier League this past weekend. Mm-hmm. Doesn't seem to be fully fit. And I don't know. Like, I don't know when for Pochettino the clock starts to really feel like it's ticking loudly in his ear. And he thinks, I need to get these guys together, even if it's only a half of Jedi Robinson. I need to see it at some point in this window, at some point before the clock turns to 2026, the calendar turns. Like, I don't know what that looks like for him, but I am worried that with a lot of these slightly banged up players, that has just pushed what should have been a really meaningful window of games another month into the future. And Robinson is like one of many injured players that we've already talked about, or guys that don't seem to quite be fully fit. So I hope he's in this team. I really do. I'm not 100% sure.
I think I'm going more out of optimism and enthusiasm and a genuine desire to see him back in this team. You're right. Limited minutes. He's been recovering from the injury. He remains recovering from the injury. Even if he gets consistent minutes this weekend or starts and plays the full 90, I think there's a decent chance that he doesn't end up getting called up because Pochettino is going to give him time. I just don't really want that to be the case anymore.
Attaboy. All right. There are Taylor's next 2 picks. Let's go to Graham for his third pick, please.
I will take... This is where there's a few different options. I will take Tim Ream, despite the fact Charlotte obviously are in and around the area where they still need results to secure the automatic playoff place, right? But I think Ream is seen as being so important to this roster that he will still be called up, and is also like a position in a player who maybe the logic will be he's not going to run himself into the ground in these over these 2 games because we haven't seen that for a number of years. So I'll take Tim Ream.
Oh, Dino's not going to like that, Graham.
What does he like?
Oasis.
Oh, yeah, he
Tim Ream.
does. Yeah.
Classic 442.
Yeah.
Route 1.
Okay, Joe, what's next?
I'm gonna pick my boy Folarin Balogun up next as my third pick to this squad. I think especially with Pepe being a question mark for this roster and Brian White being injured and Pochettino seemingly not getting a lot out of Josh Sargent and Ajiman only recently coming back from injury, although I do think we're going to see a big Pat in this roster. Maybe we'll get to that later. I think Balogun is as close as it gets to a lock, not just to be in the team, but to start at least one of these games. Balogun is my next pick. Okay. Oh, I get two. I even get two picks.
Go Josh Sargent. Why not?
Can I do it? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to pick Tim Weah as my next pick. Pochettino had some not so nice things to say about Tim Weah's lack of playing time as an actual winger with Marseille. That problem has continued where he's not playing as a winger. He's mostly playing as an outside back. I think Tim Weah is a useful national team contributor. I don't know that Pochettino necessarily rates him as a starter with this group, but I don't think there's nearly enough depth in the wide attacking areas for Pochettino not to call up Weah, assuming everything is copacetic with his club and all that stuff. Weah is my next pick.
Okay. Joe has kicked off the fourth round with Tim Weah. We go back to Graham for his fourth pick.
I'm going to go for Mark McKenzie. So, has he been a member of the bomb squad post March?
A little bit.
It was a little bit, yeah. But when I was going through centre back options, so I've got Richards and Ream already. Tristan Blackman hasn't. He missed the game at the game of the weekend, right? He's injured, right? So it seems like he's not going to be called into this camp. And then very quickly, the other options like Noke Banks might be another option, but he's not really playing right now. I don't think it's out of the question he could be called in, but it just feels like Mark McKenzie, given that he's playing basically every minute in Ligue 1 at the moment by the process of elimination. I mean, CCV's not playing, not ripping up any trees for Celtic right now. Trusty's completely out of the picture for Celtic right now. So yeah, I'll go for Mark McKenzie through that process of elimination.
Very well. Okay. Taylor, would you like to make your fourth and fifth picks, please?
Yeah, we are rapidly approaching, and maybe we already have with Mark McKenzie, the period in which I'm like less confident in some of these names, either due to injury or maybe lack of form or falling down the pecking order. But I think I'm still going to go optimistic here, even if it means I end up only getting like 4 of these selections correct. But I will go Serginho Dest next. So Serginho Dest for me misses the weekend, but other than that has played 6 games so far in the Eredivisie. If you look at the injury listing, I think it's overload. Don't know what to make of that. Maybe he just needs a reset. Maybe you got to unplug him and then plug him back in, and then he'll be fine. But I'm hoping that we see him play this weekend, and then we see him called in by Pochettino, even if it is a minutes management sort of thing, and maybe he doesn't never play all the games for the U.S. There's some like quadruple negatives for you. I think that totally worked. And then I get a little bit riskier, but I think with the Revs not having really anything to play for, I'm going to say Matt Turner gets a return to service. I don't know if he starts, but I think he gets called up. And if he doesn't, I think that is fairly notable and probably means that he is very much on the outside looking in at present. So
Taylor,
I'll throw Matt Turner in there.
That's a great shout as far as something to watch for in this window. It seemed pretty simple in goal for a little while now since the summer where Matt Freese won that job over Matt Turner. Matt Turner was not good in that Switzerland game, and Freese just kind of took it the rest of the way. Not that he was perfect either throughout the Gold Cup, but he becomes the guy for Pochettino. And it sort of seemed like he was set to carry that torch all the way through and maybe even beyond the World Cup. Now that we don't know what Freese's status is, Graham's fingers crossing, hoping that he's going to be able to be in this team, but we don't know. Like I would be not shocked, but maybe a little surprised if we saw 2 full games from Matt Freese coming off a head injury. I don't know what that's going to look like. The door is cracked open, and Turner is a great pick to go and take advantage of that because he's healthy and he's actually playing. Unlike Patrick Schulte, who didn't play for the Crew over the weekend, Roman Celentano, we think is out dealing with an injury. There are others deeper down the list, but Turner has been the closest to that job. It seems like. For Pochettino, even though he wasn't called up back in September, I think this could be a really big opportunity for Turner, obviously pending whatever is going on with Matt Freese, and we hope he's okay.
Celentano's also dealing with the aftermath of whatever that thing he ate with Andrew Wiebe
pizza hot
on
dog.
Sunday. The pizza hot dog, yeah.
Yeah.
Chili cheese hot dog wrapped in a pizza. As
They invented that in
Cincinnati.
In Scotland,
thing.
right? That's where that came from?
Oh, we're jealous that we didn't.
Right.
What were we up to? We were slacking. We dropped the
Sucking
ball on
on
that
chili
one.
dogs wrapped in a pizza. John Mellencamp was all about that years ago. Anyway.
Yeah. I mean,
Graham,
it looked good and bad at the same time. I'd like to try it.
That's a good motto to live your life by. Graham, your fifth pick.
It is. Yeah, I'm in the mood to gamble with some of my picks here, just to keep things interesting. I am going to go for Haji Wright. He was called into the Gold Cup.
Graham is his greatest champion. It's my favorite thing.
Yeah, I like Haji. I'll always remember his finish, his goal at the last World Cup, which he definitely meant. He is on fire at the moment. He didn't play at the Gold Cup because of injury. I presume he wasn't picked for the last squad because of injury as well. We thought he might be the mystery box player, but he was still coming back from... he was still recovering at that point. He is playing and thriving in the Championship right now, so I think he'll be called up.
There you go. Very good. You and Frank Lampard loving. Actually, right. Very good. Joe, it is the fifth round. Could you give us one of your picks, and then we'll take a little breaky, and you'll come back with your other?
Yeah, I'm gonna pick Tyler Adams as this pick. Now, I can imagine that listeners have been screaming into their into the void. I guess I don't know wherever you want to scream into a colander of some sort. A megaphone
on public transport. They've been screaming.
That's fine. Yeah, I assume they've been listening to the show out loud at full volume.
Work?
I don't know. I just thought about it. Like it's a filter, guys. Some of it slips through, so people know you're displeased, but it's not obvious to everyone, right? I mean, I'm thinking about these things. I can imagine people have been wondering why he hasn't been picked.
We all agree that Joe screamed into a colander, right? That's the only reason why that would come to mind.
Have we not all?
Readily?
I'm so confused, guys. This doesn't make
Who's
any
amongst
sense.
us?
We don't know exactly what's going on with Tyler Adams in this camp. It seems like a possibility that he may not be around, and maybe we'll get some more details on that. Maybe we're off on that, but I think that's why he fell a little bit in this draft. Maybe more details to come out later. But I do think that if everything is set for Adams on and off the field, he would absolutely be in this camp. And barring any sort of unusual circumstances, he will be. We'll see what ends up happening with him or not. But I've hedged appropriately. I really want to win this draft. I assume these guys do as well, and that's why he hasn't been picked. But I'll take one for the team and do it.
I think given the rumblings, and they're not like severe rumblings or falling out or anything like that, I think this is the appropriate time to take Tyler Adams. So well done, Joe.
Thanks.
Okay, the air is full of mystery there, but we shall take a quick break. When we come back, we've got the next 5 rounds of our draft. It's squeaky bum time, gents. Let's get there in a second. Hey guys, this is Total Soccer Show. Welcome back to USMNT Weekly. We are in the midst, right in the thick of our draft for the October roster. We go now to Joe Lowery, who's going to make his 6th pick of a player he thinks is going to get some minutes in these games against Ecuador and Australia. Away we go.
Should I just create more confusion about Tyler Adams instead? I feel like that's what I want to do is use more vagaries around Tyler Adams. Everything's fine. I will make my next pick. The pick that maybe I could not feel more confident about this pick, gentlemen. Pat Ajiman, Big Pat. The guy's playing for Derby County. He's Pochettino's favorite. He is in the Max Arfson category, and he's not even an MLS, so it's an even better pick. I should have led with him. Big Pat will be in this team. I'm fairly confident.
Why?
Poch loves him. Big boy, play up to the big lad. Watch him turn and fire off a shot 4 yards wide. I mean, Big Pat is, especially with how poor Josh Sargent has been. Damian Downs, I really don't think is a factor for this team. Brian White is out injured. We know Poch likes Brian White. Gave him minutes over Sargent back in March. Wanted him instead of Balogun last time out, and got Balogun instead because of a cruel twist of fate from the soccer gods there. And now Ajiman is back and healthy. He was not in September. He is now. I think Poch just is enamored, frankly, and so he's going on my list.
And that's also because Pepe is injured, right, Joe?
Yeah. I mean, but even if Pepe is healthy, I think he's probably the third striker who goes into this camp. If Pepe is not healthy and can't come into camp, I think it's Balogun, Ajiman, and I honestly have no clue who that third player is. It probably is Josh Sargent again because he's healthy. Maybe it's Damian Downs. I don't really know where Pochettino leans there, but it feels like Ajiman is in the top 3 and kind of until he isn't, I guess.
I tell you what, Graham, we're going to be really generous here. If you'd like, we're going to give you 2 picks back-to-back, provided they are Ricardo Pepi and Josh Sargent.
Pass.
No?
I'll pass on
you sure?
that, yeah. Particularly the Josh Sargent one, yeah.
Graham is a coward. Just wanted to write that down. Okay, cool.
Well, that was established before now. So.
That's canon. 6th pick, Graham.
I am going to go for Tanner Tessman.
Ooh.
He's flying for Leon at the moment. I think if he's not in this camp, it does make a statement about how Poch views him, particularly because if all things were equal and we weren't trying to hedge things with like which MLS teams need certain players, then maybe I would have other midfielders ahead of him, and I might have taken someone like Jack McGlynn or maybe Sebastian Berhalter ahead of Tanner Tessman. But just through process of elimination, with him being a Europe-based player and him playing really well right now, I'm going to go for him as my 6th pick.
Tanner Tessman is only the second central midfielder to be drafted in all the rounds we've done. Tyler Adams was the first. There is an extremely
Malik Tillman, thank you very much.
Nah, he's an attacking midfielder. There's an extremely relevant player that we have not
he's coming
discussed
next. Don't worry
the name
about
of a single time on this week's episode, and I'm shocked by that.
I'm shocked by
nervous.
it as well. I was just frantically checking to make sure he hadn't been injured or something. But yeah, I'll take Weston McKennie with my next pick. And I feel like that is obviously because of the summer, and then he doesn't get called up. But I still think that there are easily explainable reasons for that. Plus, maybe there is a little bit of Pochettino wanted to check him. I think he's played well this season in the myriad roles he's been asked to play. I think he's going to be called right back into this team because that's what Weston McKennie does. Even when they take away his parking spot and his locker room and his personal bottle of ranch, he somehow gets them all back and then some. So Weston McKennie I will take with the 6th pick, and I feel very confident about that one.
I mean, I would feel confident about that as well, Taylor. If he is called up to this squad, I'll be interested to see what Poch says, because the reasoning that he kind of gave the last time was he's not playing. Still not playing a whole bunch. Like, he did start a couple games. Remember those wild games against Inter and Borussia Dortmund that we spoke about? I think he actually played at left back and then right back the very next game in those over those 2 matches. But that was like early to mid-September, and since then he's played 32 minutes. So he's not really been playing for Juve that much.
Wait, hold on. He played 80 minutes on September 13th. He played 60 minutes on September 16th. Then he doesn't play against Hellas Verona.
That's those 2 games.
And then a half. But you make it sound like it's been a month. It's been a week. Like, I feel like that's a bit. I feel like you're creating a narrative.
He's played 32 minutes in the last 2 weeks, and Juve have had midweek games. So
I'm not buying it. Graham's just bitter. That's what I'm hearing.
Kids, settle down. Weston McKennie, is there an argument, Taylor, that he is a squad vibes man? I don't mean vibes on the field. I mean like good vibes, like a Jordan Henderson getting picked for England kind of thing. Is that a key part of his?
Yes, he seems to be much more of the like energetic good vibes. Like I think the one I will always remember is them playing when he's like first called in 2019. I think there's like in the Saracen era, there's a video of him like playing like the keepy uppy game with like 3 other teammates, and then whoever drops it gets like flicked in the ear, and he's the most excited to get to flick people in the ear. I think he's very much a like let's do something. I'm bored. Let's play some games. Let's play some cards. Let's do something. I think he is that guy. So I think he keeps things loose, and I think he's probably a good guy to have to kind of meld new players coming in or players that haven't been there combined with experienced veterans. So that's why I would have him in there. Sure.
I think, Taylor, you mentioned maybe Poch checking McKennie a little bit with that September call-up. I think that is very possible. Doug McIntyre for Fox reported earlier, it would have been in September now, I suppose. He reported that Weston McKennie, according to multiple sources, turned up to the Copa America camp just largely unfit and wasn't ready to go. And that Weston McKennie has had multiple disciplinary issues with the U.S. men's national team. I'm not insinuating that anything happened in September, or at least I'm not trying to. But I do think that McKennie, while being a vibes guy, is a slightly volatile sort of figure for this U.S. men's national team. I think he largely is beloved by this group of players and by the fan base. There have been enough moments from his time with the national team that he is not maybe above being checked in a way that maybe a Christian Pulisic would be, a Pulisic kind of fought back against Pochettino, right? And McKennie hasn't done that, if indeed that was the issue there. McKennie, though, on talent, I just don't see how he's not a starting player for this team. Like, I really just cannot fathom that being true. Pochettino has done things that I couldn't have fathomed before, so I'm not ruling out that he's not involved yet again, but I think that is a really good pick. I think McKennie absolutely should not just be in this team, but should be getting real minutes for them.
I do wonder if he is one of the guys that is sort of central, if unnamed, in the conversation about like how there's like too many people in the hotel and maybe not, like international breaks aren't taken as seriously because he's also the one who broke COVID protocol, right? Or at least we know publicly broke COVID protocol. And so I think, there's another disciplinary issue I think Joe was alluding to. But then at the same time, like in that win over Inter, which happened 12 years ago, he does look noticeably fitter and noticeably thinner. I think we talked about it in that review. So I think there are reasons to be concerned about him being included. I think there are reasons to be optimistic about him being included. And either way, I think we'll learn more one way or the other. So Weston McKennie for me is the 6th pick. I get the 7th as well, and now I am fully not confident.
Yep.
Because there are a lot of names left, and I truly think the name that I would have gone with next, he might have already been taken if he were fit, is Gio Reyna. I don't see how, if he is playing for Gladbach, like by getting good opportunities, looking like a bright spot for them, I don't see how you don't bring him in and see what he can offer. But he has the thigh injury or the hamstring injury, and I don't know how severe that is. It seems less severe than Ricardo Pepi's, but still enough that maybe he doesn't get called in. So you could have, like, I would have had Johnny in here, but he is injured. Yunus Musa, ? Aiden Morris, ? I think this is a risky one for me because I don't know how much he impressed in camp, but maybe Pochettino wants another look. I will go with Nokai Banks. Still don't know which one it is. Maybe I never will. Maybe this is another Simons situation. I think he plays 20 minutes for Augsburg this weekend, so that's something. But maybe if you are going with a more heavily European squad, if it is going to be Ream and Richards for the majority of this one, maybe you want to give him another kind of opportunity in camp to see what he can do and how much he's progressed, and if he looks a little bit more comfortable now that he's gotten that the other one out of the way. So I'll go with Nokai Banks as well.
All right, very good. Before we continue, I'll just relay the names we've picked so far. Richards, Pulisic, Arston, Zendejas, Fries, Robinson, Anthony Robinson, Tillman, Ream, Balogun, Weah, McKenzie, Dest, Turner, Wright, Adams, Adjumang, Tessman, McKennie, and Banks. The next name is going to come from Graham's lips very shortly.
Now I'm really not confident. He's going to have to call in some of these MLS bubble guys because otherwise there's not going to be a squad. So I'll go with one of his favourites because I just don't see any other options. I'm going to go for Alex Freeman as my, what is this, 8th pick?
I think that's
just because
7th.
I feel like I could have gone with a couple other favourites in midfield, but it feels like there's maybe other ways he could go there. Whereas, like in the fullback positions, I literally have no idea who's coming into this squad if Alex Freeman isn't. So,
especially because of the injuries to Jetta Robinson not being 100% fit. If he was, he'd be playing 90 for Fulham. So that we know for sure. And Dest, we know very much not being 100% fit. There's your starter on both sides. And then if you're not going to call up any MLS players, which Poch, I think we've reasoned is going to have to do based off of doing this exercise. But if you're not, then you're looking at Joe Scally and John Tolkien and Marlon Fossey, I think, are some of the other fullbacks that have all been in camp under Pochettino. That doesn't feel super worthwhile. Nathan Harriel season, I guess. I mean, it gets bleak really fast. Freeman, I think, Graham, is a very solid pick. I don't know exactly how Poch is going to evaluate all the MLS games happening during this international window, but he has said a lot of very nice things about Oscar Pereira specifically in press conferences. Maybe this is when you cash in some of those compliments, you know?
All right. Joe, give us a couple names, will you?
I would love to, Ryan. I'm going to start with Yunus Musa, another one of the midfielders who I think could be back from the cold a little bit. We've since learned after the summer when Pochettino had announced that Musa wasn't involved for personal reasons, that Musa, according to Yunus Musa, pretty good source, said that he had asked to have the summer off. He needed a little bit of time to rest and recuperate. Was not brought in September, and the thinking there is maybe that Pochettino wants him along with a bunch of other dudes to get settled at their clubs. Musa now is not playing a ton for Atalanta, but he has been playing some, and I think he's one of these other guys that on talent, it's pretty hard to ignore him being worth spending a roster spot on, I think, in basically any context. So I've got Musa as one of my other picks as a guy who I think will come back after Poch leans a little heavier towards the European side. And then my next pick is another central midfielder. Taylor, you very wisely ran through the MLS teams that are playing in this international break. The Houston Dynamo are not one of those teams. We know that Pochettino likes Jack McGlynn, even if it's just as a change of pace option off the bench. McGlynn pretty reliably has been getting minutes for Pochettino. I think he's a specialist. And Graham, you and I talked about this in the last window. I think he's sort of a central midfield specialist in the way that Ajiman is a striker specialist, where he brings one extremely differentiable skill and has some clear deficiencies as well. But McGlynn's set-piece service, number one, late in game, and his ability to break lines in a game where maybe you're desperate trying to break down a bunker defense because you're trailing late in a match. Those feel like the perfect moments for McGlynn, to the point where I absolutely would spend a roster spot on him, even over a more well-rounded player, just for that situation. So I've got McGlynn because I think Poch maybe thinks similarly about him and probably is going to have him in this camp.
All right. Thank you, Joe. Graham, this is your 8th pick. This is the 23rd pick of the draft. So we're getting to the area where you might not be in the roster now. So pick wisely.
I don't feel great about any of these picks. I'm trying to very quickly look through the teams that have the MLS teams that have games.
CCV.
CCV's not playing that well, man, at the moment. It pains me to say that.
Graham doesn't like Scotland. Graham doesn't like Scotland.
I'm going to go for... De La Torre doesn't have an injury, right? He's free of injury.
As far as I know, yes.
I'll go with De La Torre because San Diego, as far as I can see, are not one of those teams that are playing through the international break. So yeah, I'll go for Luca.
Okay, his name is Luca. Does he live in the October roster? We shall see.
Hopefully.
Taylor?
If Tyler Adams is not there, and that's an if, then maybe there is more opportunity for other players in that like kind of more defensive midfield spot. And if Johnny is injured, maybe it's some players we've already seen. But I'm going to go with a double whammy here of probably not going to be in, but I hope they are. I will go James Sands with my next pick.
Oh, that's a good shout.
I've really enjoyed him for San Pauli this season, starting, playing very regularly for a San Pauli team that have impressed and started really brightly, and I think he's been critical to that. I think he keeps it simple but does a lot of reliable work for them. And I think Aiden Morris has been a really good performer this season in the championship, the Champo, if you will. I believe I'm mandated to say that. And he's one who I think there's a lot of like wino Aiden Morris hype around when it comes to being way too online USMNT supporters. It seems like he is, again, a reliable starter, a reliable performer, a very good midfielder in the championship, but still. And I think it's worth giving him another shot, another look. He's been in camp before under Pochettino, so I almost went Morris then Sands, but I'm going to go with Hart overhead, and I've enjoyed Sands more. I've seen more of him, so I feel more confident in him getting the call-up.
Nice. Excellent stuff. Graham, back to you.
Is this my final pick, Ryan? Is this
Nope.
the 10th
This is your
pick?
penultimate pick.
It's my penultimate pick. Oh, wow, I'm bad at counting. Okay, I thought this was my 10th one. No idea where I'm going with this one. I'm saving a wild card until the end.
I should note we only have 2 goalkeepers taken so far.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, Graham, you should pick a goalkeeper.
I will.
If
nobody has picked the guy by the time we get to the 10th
Chris
one.
Brady, so you're thinking of.
I'm going to go for... Oh, man, who am I going to go for? I'm going to go for Damien Downs, because Damien Downs has been in this squad more than seems reasonable.
If Damien Downs is in this team, I've got some issues with the way Pochettino is building rosters and being consistent in his logic. So too does the guy outside mowing lawns.
Taylor, who would you want in over Damien Downs? Like, knowing all of the fitness situations for these strikers, what are your 3 strikers, assuming you're bringing 3?
Yeah, there we go. That's how I ended up on Damien Downs.
Go ahead.
See, it's really, I mean, it's probably Sargent. I mean,
Okay,
Graham has made the compelling argument for why it should be Haji Wright, and maybe it's that, but that feels like a big experimentation. Like, we've joked about it before. People got very mad, but like I think Brian White would have been in the conversation ahead of him had he not been injured. Ricardo Pepi is injured, and so like it probably comes down to Sargent and Downs, and I don't think either one has looked particularly good for the U.S. in the times that we've seen them. Downs is also not playing for Southampton, and I think the comments from the manager this weekend were sort of like he's got some work to do. It's difficult to figure things out sometimes, and by contrast, you know, Sargent is still scoring goals and has been a more reliable goal scorer at that level. So I lean Sargent, but man, it's bleak. It's a rough one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I won't be picking Sargent, but I lean Sargent.
Yeah, same.
Well,
okay.
yeah, you've got 2 picks, Joe. Will you Sargent up one of them?
I shan't, and I shall leave Chris Brady for Graham if that is indeed who he wants. I will go Joe Scally with my penultimate choice. He's a guy that if you're deeper down the right back depth chart, I just don't see how you don't end up calling him in, right? I mean, unless Poch truly doesn't rate him, and that's fine. I don't think Scally is so good, nor do I think he's been so good in the last couple of weekends, that you absolutely have to bring in Joe Scally. But it seems pretty likely to me that with some of the injuries there, and maybe if Freeman doesn't get the call for MLS reasons, then Scally will be the guy. So I'm picking Scally. And then to close out.
Joe, can I jump in really fast to say, I kind of regret not picking him, actually, but I'm hyped about Sands and Morris. But I think Scally should be in this team, given the limitations, given like a potential injury to Dest, given that Freeman and Orlando are playing. If he is not, I think it confirms for me that, number one, Joe Scally is not in consideration for the World Cup. But number two, I'm assuming there have to be personality issues or past performance issues, one or the other, that were bad enough that Pochettino just wants nothing to do with it. Because a guy playing regularly in the Bundesliga and adding more attacking skill sets to his game, and that has been the drawback for him, I don't see how you don't call him up. So if he doesn't, I think that is pretty notable as well.
Yes, it would be telling. I completely agree, Taylor. Unless we see Dest and Freeman both in camp, in which case I suppose it's just telling that he's the number 3, which maybe we already kind of sort of know. We'll find out. My final pick is Diego Luna. RSL tend to play pretty buddy-buddy with U.S. soccer when it comes to national team stuff all across the age ranges. And Luna, I think, on balance, is probably in Pochettino's 26-man squad if he has to pick one for the World Cup tomorrow. So I'm just going with a talent play. Maybe this doesn't happen because MLS and RSL have a game in this window. Maybe it does. I'm hedging towards maybe. So.
Seems wrong that Luna's in the final round of this exercise, but here we are.
Just because Poch, we know, wants to do right by the clubs as far as his selections have gone, and RSL are in the playoff hunt right now. So I don't feel great about this pick. If all things are equal in a vacuum, I think Luna would have gone much earlier.
All right.
There's a whole bunch of players like that. Like Luna would have been one of my first picks. Sebastian Berhalter, I think, still in the board. Christian Roldan's still in the board. I would have gone load of these guys, but there's the risk that of the MLS games through the window, so I've stayed away.
Well, who does complete your lineup, Graham?
Time for my wild card. It's not Chris Brady. I'm going to go for Diego Kochen because he, unfortunately, and this was a bummer, got recalled by Barcelona and isn't playing in the U20 World Cup. So I'm still bummed that he's not going to get minutes in this in this camp. I don't think there's any chance that he does. But I think there is a world where Pochettino kind of rewards him, gets another look, and it brings him into the camp. He is on the bench for Barcelona right now, like the actual Barcelona. He was the sub goalkeeper against Real Sociedad at the weekend. They've got a bunch of injuries right now. He'll be the sub goalkeeper against PSG. He is a Chesney injury away from getting minutes for actual FC Barcelona right now. And not to play the Badge FC card, I think that will appeal on some level to Pochettino, and I think he will be the third goalkeeper in this camp.
It is hilarious to think about Diego Kochen getting recalled by Barcelona because they want him around for whatever reason, only for U.S. Soccer to force him away from Barcelona like a week later. That is the ultimate petty move from U.S. Soccer if that were to happen, which is kind of why I think it won't happen. But I suppose it's not impossible. Maybe this is a long play sort of thing that's been in the works. But I love the creativity of that shot, Graham. That's fun.
I imagine Chesney must be saying, "Don't send him away. I want to stay on this deck chair, please. I do not want to have to do any more. I'm past this." Taylor, we're going to end this draft the way we started it with one of your lovely picks.
Yeah. So, I looked it up. Gio Reyna's expected return date, make of it what you will, is mid-October.
You should not pick Gio Reyna.
He's so desperate to do it.
Well, no, I'm just running through them. Ricardo Pepi is late October, so I don't think, I wonder, put it this way. I think if Reyna were day-to-day and had a strain, I still think there is a possibility he gets caught up as hey, you got your move, you started playing, good for you, we're going to call you in and have a cup of coffee and then send you home because you're hurt. But we want to see, just reward you and see how you're doing. But it seems like even there, the injury might be enough that doesn't really make sense. And so if you're not going Reyna, you're not going Pepe, you're not going Cardoso, I'm left with CCV. Seb Berhalter, I think, is still on that list. Tolkien, Roldan, Aronson, Sargent. I do not feel good about this at all, but it feels, faded. If I'm going to go with another goalkeeper, and it's a European goalkeeper, I think Kochen is a great shout by Graham. I don't think it's Ethan Horvath, so let's go Jonathan Klinsmann. I wish I knew more about what he did in camp and how he looked in camp, but if it is a third string goalkeeper and they're just sort of it's Area B, it's a short flight, let's make this happen. I don't know. Maybe they're just going to kind of keep rolling with it. It could be any number of goalkeepers, and I wouldn't be surprised. But I feel like there has to be at least one more in there, and if it's not Kochen, maybe it's Klinsmann.
Zach Steffen's somewhere shedding a tear that his last believer has not picked him for his roster.
I thought about it. I'm not sure why I didn't go that way, other than just that, the timing. I think it was Ike Opara. We had a question about this a long time ago about, why was he not more of like a reliable center back for the United States. And we basically did the timeline, and it was like he was injured for every single opportunity when there would have been availability. And so every single time he maybe could have come in and staked a claim, he was hurt and somebody else did it and then cemented their starting spot. And I feel like that has happened to Zach Steffen, where he keeps being injured or involved in other competitions. And so somebody else gets called in. Not to say that anybody has cemented the starting spot or the backup spot or even the third string spot, but I think others maybe are ahead of him at this point. Could be wrong. We'll find out.
There we go. We will find out indeed. We should find out on Thursday when the USMNT roster is expected to drop, and we should perhaps have a winner of our draft at that point. If not, we're going down to the minutes. Can't hardly wait. There we go. That is USMNT Weekly for this week. I think we can relay the results of this draft on our Discord server, patreon.com/Total Soccer Show, if you'd like to come check it out. But for now, Taylor Rockwell, thank you very much indeed for your drafting and all and sundry that you have provided for this episode.
Thank you, my friend. I feel confident about 6 of my 10.
That's a majority.
Yeah, that counts.
Almost. Super majority.
Hey.
Just a majority. There we go. Good stuff. Graham Ruthven, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ryan Bailey.
And thank you, Joe Lowery.
Hey, thanks, Ryan.
And thank you, the mostest listener. We hope you enjoyed USMNT Weekly. We're going to be back on the feed very shortly indeed. But for now, bye.